Okay, so that just completes our hosting element as well as the domain registration and email platforms. A lot of people ask me what website is best to go with. Just put on the next slide there. So obviously what web service is best depends on ultimately what you're selling. Now, there's so many different free platforms you could use to build a website now. Wix, GoDaddy will do it, 123 we saw earlier, Ionos. There's so many different platforms that you can build a website for, and they won't even charge you. They might just give you like a 30-day free trial. But you've got to think about what you're selling. Shopify is infamous for obviously selling products online. It's very good. They do charge you fees per transaction, and they do charge you monthly fees as normal. Okay. Now, obviously, depending on where you're going in your first year, you could be looking at £10 per month, going up to even £100 per month, depending on the volume of sales, what you're selling, your product. Generally, if it's a physical product, for example, a t-shirt, and you're using something like Shopify, be prepared for per transaction sales being taken out by Shopify. They'll do everything for you, but be prepared for them to be taken out. Also, you've got to think about your monthly fees to Shopify. So think about those two elements. If you're not selling a physical product, so it could be a service like, for example, a care home or something like that, and you just want a website as such, then you don't necessarily need to use Shopify because you're not selling a physical product, you just want to showcase your website. There's loads of free websites, Wix is one, Ionos another, to just basically showcase your item. They're two different things. Products and services are two different things, and I would use different websites for them. The main thing is you're going to need to shop around. You could even get something free for 3 months. It depends what deals are out there at the moment. When you're registering your domain, again, you can also do that with Shopify. They might give you 3 free months. So again, just have a play around again, but go through all of them and have a look which website you want to do and test it around. I've had good experiences with Shopify and Wix. Shopify, in my opinion, is the easiest. Ionos, again, not a bad experience. GoDaddy, 123 to find it a bit more complicated. WordPress, which is a very common platform to build your website in, I personally don't like, but once you get used to it, it is actually quite good to use. And a lot of websites are built in WordPress, so obviously have a think about that. There are obviously various examples that I'll take you through at the end. I'll show you, for example, a Shopify site, just so you can understand how it kind of works in the back end. Don't just think you have to go to these providers for a website. You can actually create a bespoke. There are many very good website providers out there. They'll charge you probably per hour, they could charge you per project. But then we're going above the £1,000 mark. You're going to be potentially investing a lot of money into your website. And I do recommend investing, maybe not at the initial instance, but once you start to generate sales, I would use that money and keep it aside and put it into a better website. You've got to think about your long-term goal, which is essentially what we're discussing right now. Is that your short-term, you want to create maybe a free website, something to kind of help you out with, maybe 6 months to a year, maybe less than that. And in the longer term, you want to use that money and perhaps build a lot more content around your website, use a more professional service, unless of course you're happy. I've had a Shopify account for I think nearly a year now. It's generating sales. I don't need to really come off it. Where it gets stuck down again is the transaction fees and things like that. So you've got to look at those things. Other things that are linked to your website, so things like chatbots, Zoho Zendesk again is a very good example. Tidio I've used. Again, this is when a customer will come onto your website and a chat box will appear. I find these really useful and I would highly recommend implementing it, especially if you're selling a physical product. If it's a service, again, I still would have it. It's very, very good. Again, emails again should be visible, or a send message icon, an envelope, and a phone number. Try and keep those visible in as many places as possible. One thing that we often forget is Amazon. Amazon has a huge power on the market at the moment. There's over 33 million customers, I think, shopping like daily, I think the stats were. Amazon is good for physical products. So again, going back to t-shirts, baby products, again as another example. It's very good to get your products on Amazon because you can essentially get sales via Amazon. People are looking on Amazon a lot. But they also have different elements like a fulfillment service where you can actually stock your goods in their warehouse. It's called FBA, so it's Fulfilled by Amazon. I won't go into too much detail there because that's a whole separate thing, but think about if you are selling a physical product, look at maybe ways of getting them onto Amazon, but again, look at your per transaction value. They've got storage fees that are associated with it. Think about all of the things that are associated with Amazon. Short term, again, it might be good. If a product is unique to the market and there's not a lot of competition around it, maybe Amazon could be a good place because you're not gonna see a lot of competition. But if you are, again, going back to t-shirts and baby clothing and baby products, it could be a whole heap of competition on there. And yes, you might get sales, but may not generate as much as you want. So think about all of those different items, okay? A lot of questions get asked, well, how do I get to the first page of Google? Believe me, it is not an overnight process. You need to have strong content. So a lot of your keywords that people would normally type into Google should be appearing in a lot of places on your website. Content is key. You need to make sure that you put whatever details you can on your website that is relevant, important, and ultimately delivers you sales. You need to make sure you blast it on as many pages as possible, keep it user friendly, and make sure that ultimately you're delivering the right information to the customer. Okay, there are two different aspects of Google marketing, which again I will go through in a later day in more detail, but for now it's important you understand this from a website perspective. SEO is called search engine optimization. This ultimately is where your website ranks. So when people are typing in, for example, buy a baby grower, for example, and you're appearing on page 10, it means that either you're a very new website, or maybe your content isn't relevant compared to your competitors, or it's not in enough place on your website. It could be a multitude of factors that could determine where you're ranking. So it's important to potentially invest in some SEO work and make sure that your page does get ranked to page 1. But again, it's not an overnight process. It's another extra cost that you may need to implement. If you are doing a bespoke website, I would speak to your website providers about the SEO package that they offer as well. But SEO is very important to continuously rank at the top. Okay, it will take a long time though. PPC is pay-per-click. That's when you essentially are paying to be at the top of Google, and there's so many different items on Google AdWords, what you can do with keywords to appear at the top. It's not a long-term fix, it's a short-term solution, okay? Other key things, make sure your website is mobile friendly. A lot of people now are on their phones, having a look at websites. It's very important that it's mobile friendly. If you can create an app, do that. Maybe not short-term again, but think about the longevity and an app of maybe delivering products via your app. If you've got products in a service, could it be appetized, I call it? So is there an app feature that you could do? Again, more longer term. Keywords. So again, going back to t-shirts, let's say again, or let's just say let's say you're selling football t-shirts for the sake of argument, and it's a Man United football t-shirt. So let's say myfootykit.com/Manchester United football t-shirt is a descriptive URL. It's very specific. But you don't want to have hashtags, numbers, question marks, slashes in your descriptive URL. You want to keep it clean. And I'll go through that next and what I mean, what's a clean URL. Internal linking and external linking. Okay, internal linking is whereby you've got pages within your website that are going to other pages. For example, you could be on the home page and you've got a link within your homepage that will take you to tracksuits, for example. Then on tracksuits you might have a link that takes you to socks. That's internal link. It's very important to build your website so there's a lot of internal links. External links is partnerships with other websites or social media like Facebook, Instagram, less so, Twitter. Where are these external links coming from that are pushing traffic to your website? Again, external linking is another topic that we can go through, but it's very important that you build up a lot of external links in the longer term. Short term, internal link is probably more important. Title tags. What that means is what you're putting in your H tags on your websites, whether it's WordPress, Shopify, whatever. What is the title of that page? Because ultimately Google is going to search the title and the keywords. Okay, very important you get a relevant title and an important title. Blogs and social media. Blogs, again, very important. I've never used one myself, but again, a lot of people that are generally ranking quite high do have their own blogs and link the blog to their website. Again, people might be interested in what you're doing, how you set up the business, what products you're selling, a service that you're selling, and similarly that should also reflect in social media. You should have a social media page with your branding and your logos that ultimately reflects the website. So, but they both should go hand in hand with one another. To monitor how you've been doing is Google Analytics. So you need to sign up to a Google Analytics account. Normally you do that with G Suite if you've already got it, or Gmail, and that will then track exactly how many visitors you have per day, per week, or whatever you want. Analytics is very important in the long term. Okay, short term it's important to just set up, but in the mid to long term you'll be able to see kind of what's happening. In the short term, try not to get too bogged down by Google Analytics because it may not show a lot of traffic coming to you, but you are a new website, it does take a bit of time. Okay, so those are kind of key things that you think about when you're ranking your website. All right. Once again, feel free to ask me any questions. I have been Nilesh Pandit. You can follow the link in the description for company formation. Okay, I'm not going to go into too much detail there because there are many other YouTubers that are putting a lot of information about it. So I'll put that in the link for you. And of course, please make sure you follow Entrepreneur Diaries on YouTube and just like this Facebook page. Okay, thank you very much.